Good afternoon. We are on the record in the matter of People versus Dudley Allen. We have two case numbers, 240767OM and 240768OM. May I have appearances for the record, please?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Robert Easterly on behalf of the city. I'm apologizing in advance. I'm just getting a voice back today.
You do, for a man who sings and choirs, you do sound a little croaky. All right, and Attorney Vachon.
Yes, Your Honor. Melissa Vachon on behalf of Mr. Allen while he appears separately from the Ingham County Jail.
Thank you. And Mr. Allen, could you state your name for the record, please?
Oh, Your Honor, I think the jail is still muted.
Okay, we will wait just a minute. And Mr. Reichert, record, I see you are here as well, so we'll get to you in just a second. Okay, there we go. Okay, Mr. Allen, could you state your name for the record, please? Thank you. So we are here today for a sentencing. I should note for the record that case 24-0768OM had carried two counts. Disorderly conduct, obstructing, hindering, assaulting an officer, and disorderly conduct, drunken disorderly, and those were dismissed as part of the plea agreement. So we're going forward on sentencing on case 24-0767OM, count one, assault or assault and battery. And Mr. Reichert, we'll get to you in just a moment. First, Mr. Easterly, did you receive the pre-sentence report?
I did receive it, Your Honor. I had the opportunity to review it. I don't have any factual changes or deletions.
Okay. Attorney Vachon, did you receive the pre-sentence report?
Yes, Your Honor. I received it and reviewed it with Mr. Allen. We have no changes.
Okay. And do both of you receive it timely?
Yes, Judge.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Mr. Easterly, would you like to speak on the case?
I would, Your Honor, and thank you. I recognize that you've already recognized that the victim in this matter is here today. I think as it relates to the PSI and the recommendation that he served the 93 days in jail, I'm in full support of that. I have some pretty significant concerns based on what is in the pre-sentence investigation report. I think that it's clear that Mr. Allen has some issues as it relates to substance use, and I'm more concerned from the standpoint of public safety in that he tends to indicate.
Mr. Allen.
Sir, I will mute you. I will mute you. Okay, I'm going to mute you. All right, please proceed, Mr. Easterly. Yeah.
In that he tends to indicate, Judge, that that he would probably handle the situation the same way again.
May the record reflect that Mr. Allen is standing up, making some sort of hand gesture, and it looks like he's headed for standing next to the door. I don't know if that's an obscene hand gesture or not. He has not been let out of the room. Again, Mr. Easterly, I apologize. Please proceed.
Thank you, Judge. I recognize that the court is limited in what sentence it can impose here today. But based on the actions here, what was suffered by the victim in this case, who I'm going to ask to address the court here in a moment, as well as Mr. Dudley's own words in relation to the, excuse me, the PSI, I'm going to ask that the court would sentence him as according. And I would ask that that the victim have an opportunity to address the court as well.
Thank you. And may the record reflect that Mr. Allen has returned to his chair. He seems to be saying something, but we have muted him because he was speaking out of turn. So, and I apologize, sir, is it Reichert or Rickert? Richard?
It's Richard.
Richard, okay. And could you state and spell your name for the record?
Sure. My name is Christopher, Christopher, and my last name is Richard, Richert.
Okay, and I want to apologize. I think I sounded a bit brusque earlier when I told you that we'd get to you. I did not mean that. I was juggling things, and I'm sorry for any incorrect tone.
No worries.
This is your opportunity to address the court. I also have your statement in front of me, and I've been reading it. So please, sir, proceed.
Yes. So I guess it was a shocking incident that happened. I happened to be the general manager of the State News, which is a nonprofit here out of East Lansing. We happen to operate and be the landlord of two buildings. And the building that Mr. Dudley was behind was, I refer to it as our 501 East Grand River building. I originally arrived there because I was called by one of our tenants, coffee shop, that the students that were working in the coffee shop needed to throw some garbage away and were concerned when they opened the door and saw him. So they called me. And that's when I went outside to go assess the situation. Um, I stayed on one side of the street the whole time. And I was knew that Mr. Dudley was behind the building. I can hear him yelling. And so I went to get on my phone, and that's when he had run across the street or walked across the street and attacked me. It was it in the beginning. I had it was significant to the point where once the police arrived, I did refuse medical treatment, not thinking that my injuries were going to be an issue until about an hour later. So, and that's when I went to the hospital.
I think in this court, I hear a lot of people talk about immediately after an assault. And as your statement says, people think, well, I thought I had just bruises. And then later I realized that it was more significant. So please know that the court understands that experience and does not fault you for waiting to decide, whether you needed help.
Understood. Thank you.
So now, how long have you been working downtown? State News has been in that building for what, 10 years now, maybe?
Yeah, I'm 6 years into my position there.
Oh. And how frequently do you walk? I'm guessing this is what they only in East Lansing they call the LA behind Grand River. And I think it's the Habit Trail parking lot.
Correct. I am there several times throughout the day on both sides.
Okay. And I see in your letter that you're having sleep problems, that the memory of it comes back to you, and that this has affected your daily routines. Is there anything else you'd like to say about that, or about how your family members and friends have responded?
I think they were concerned. They're concerned for my safety as being the person who's in charge of the organization. I am the, top person there. I don't wish this to happen upon anybody. I'm glad I made the decision for myself to come down. I would have sent one of my student workers down there to assess the situation, not thinking it was going to be as much as it was, what it ended up being. So I'm glad that, a young student did not get attacked.
And are you familiar with the sentencing recommendation here?
I'm not.
Okay. So the recommendation is that Mr. Allen be sentenced to 93 days jail, which is the maximum allowed for that charge. Then there are also fines that go with it. In this case, the maximum fine allowed for this charge would be $500. However, because we credit a defendant or someone lodged in the jail with $25 per day, that would zero out the fines. However, there would be other costs that generally come back to the court, which would be $300 in costs under the East Lansing City Code, $75 crime victim rights fund. So that pays into anytime the court collects costs and fines from any defendant, there's a $75 amount that goes into that fund. And then some crime victims have the ability to access that and others don't, depending on the nature of the charge. There is a $50 justice system assessment, which is by state statute, and everyone convicted of a charge pays that $50. Then there's a $100 substance abuse screening fee, which is something the court charges for screening someone if alcohol or drugs are believed to. Do you have any thoughts on this recommended sentence?
I do not. I defer to the court and the attorneys to make that decision.
Okay. Are there any other thoughts or experiences you'd like to share? We're here to listen to you.
No, I'm good. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so now Attorney Vachon is going to get the opportunity to speak on behalf of her client, and tell you from life experience, it can be a little hard to listen to because she's going to say the good things about her client. It is in no way a reflection on her opinion about you or your experience whatsoever. Okay, let's just say I had a hard time. Many years, the first time I went to court, I was a crime victim, and I had kind of a hard time hearing that statement. So I always feel the obligation to explain that to people. They haven't been here before. Attorney Vachon, allocution on behalf of Mr. Allen.
Yes, Your Honor, I know Mr. Allen doesn't like that he's in these situations. I know that he, just some background information, when this occurred back in October, he was unhoused. I think he was taken into custody shortly after, and he's been in custody since October 3rd, I believe, 1 second, Your Honor. October 13th, he's been at the Ingham County Jail, Your Honor. He expressed to me that when he is released, he does plan to get housing in Lansing, and I think that that would limit his exposure to these circumstances. Again, Your Honor, I think that at this point he has served over 93 days. He's been in jail since October, so I'd ask the court sentence him to time served.
Thank you. All right, so at this point, and perhaps Officer Pashedley can help, I'm going to ask the jail to unmute to give Mr. Allen an opportunity to speak. Mr. Allen, you have an opportunity to speak. You don't have to. If you speak, I will certainly take into consideration anything you want to say. However, you don't have to speak, and if you choose not to, that won't be used against you. However, I will warn you in advance, any profanity or any commentary about Mr. Richard will not be tolerated, and you'll be muted again, and we will end the proceeding. So, Mr. Allen, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, just because she's a business owner, and I know I'm a piece of shit. I'm not here on the street.
Mr. Allen,
I'm going to have to mute you. I don't want to treat you as less than you are, but I want to give you every opportunity to speak. But it has to be in the context. It has to be in the context of what the court can accept. Okay.
Because he's a business owner does not make him better than me. There's the homeless people out here. Just because I'm homeless does not make him a better man than me. Because it's not making you're making a difference. You are what you're doing because I'm homeless. I'm not on no substance. I speak against drugs to kids, to women, and to people that will sell their bodies for drugs. And kids don't do drugs. I found my youngest brother dead of a heroin overdose. He found my dad dead. I don't do drugs. But you can ask anybody if you want. Now, I'm telling you right now, I speak against it. Don't try heroin because you'll like it. 2 out of 3 is going to. And it kills every minute, every second of every day. And I don't care who says what about it. I speak against it. And he's saying something about substance abuse. I don't use drugs. If I did, I'd tell you I don't care. I'm a boss. I don't care.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
you. I got nothing against you, sir. It was just a spur of the moment thing. I don't like people calling on me for throwing a bottle against the dumpster. I was not throwing it against buildings. That would be different. I was not doing anything wrong at all for you to call law on me.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go to mute now.
That's
Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. Anything further for this record? Attorney Easterly.
Judge, I would just like to verify. I know initially there was not any restitution request. Did you have any out-of-pocket costs, any deductible at all as it related to your insurance, Mr. Richard?
So I don't think it just been taking some time for the insurance to come through. I obviously use my insurance on this. I'm not sure what my deductible was back then. I think I had met it at that point.
So Attorney Easterly, are you asking us to set this for a restitution hearing at some point in the future?
Only if Mr. Richard would request the same. Would you like to wait till the insurance component is resolved? We can hold that component of this open.
No, I'm okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't have anything further, Judge.
Okay. Attorney Vachon, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Well, Mr. Richard, I really thank you for coming in. Michigan actually has pretty expansive victim laws, although it sure doesn't feel like it when you're on the receiving end. And I will say that from life experience. In a court, we talk a lot about the rights of the accused, et cetera, et cetera. And when you were here, I never wanted to be here and never wanted anything to do with it. It's hard to listen to, and I acknowledge that. We tend to be focused on the person who was actually before us. And so I thank you for coming in, and I thank you for writing your letter. I wish you all the best. I think I will say, and I believe Attorney Vachon and Attorney Easterly would tell you that if any of us could go back in time, we would have prevented this. I'm sorry this happened, and I'm sorry it happened in downtown East Lansing, which many of us consider a fairly easy place to be. That's not always the case. So thank you very much. I believe that is all for this record.
Judge, I do think for the record, the court does need to state the sentence that it's imposing.
Got ahead of myself. Thank you, Attorney Easterly. All right, so the sentence, I'm going to follow the recommendations. 93 days in jail with credit for 93 days served, $300 costs, $75 crime victim rights fund, $50 justice system assessment, and $100 substance abuse screening fee for a total of $525. I am also going to, don't know that we can do this without probation, but I'm going to put a requirement that Mr. Allen not contact Mr. Reichert or be at his place of business. I know one of them is 501 East Grand River, and the other address, sir, is
435 East Grand River.
Okay, thank you. So I have to tell you, I haven't done this before without having someone on probation. So I am not entirely confident that has force of law. However, you may trespass him from those addresses, in which case you can speak with Attorney Easterly about that, in which case it would have the same effect. All right. Now, I'm sorry, Attorney Vachon, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. That is all for this record.